respected invitees, and dear students. In today's seminar, let me discuss what is educational psychology. Friends, educational psychology is a voice of silence that inspires a child to progress systematically while building his or her career, and fills the child with hopes and opens his or her mind to evaluate himself or herself logically with a lot of options. Friends, this makes him or her genius and young in mind. Friends, it is also a kind of protective and potential behind the child to systematize his or her knowledge or choice-based system. Hence, his or her hypothesis for building his or her career never goes wrong. So, it is also a open space to create her creativity. It also helps a child for observational study through which one can love his or her career and offer himself or herself to cultivate godly qualities in him or her, and consequently he or she keeps himself or herself within a yardstick of modesty. So friends, it expands one with a lot of devotion but not with diversion, and it also believes in unification but not in utilization. It believes in communication and aspiration. It believes in truthfulness and intuition. It believes in openness and mobility also. So friends, educational psychology expands our intellectual ability and cultivates our devotional quality. It unites us on an intellectual platform, enhances our communication skill, puts us on an affirmative path, promotes our thought process, and awakens our intuition, inspires us to be open, and above all makes us need-based. So friends, let's join our hands together to make our educational system psychological based, and because we can give right direction to our children through this system only. We cannot force our children against their choice and bend their ability. Their ability would build our nation if rightly channelized. Let's accept them, adopt them, and accommodate them unconditionally and reform them carefully, because conditional acceptance makes a child destructive and makes them distracted very often. Now, let me invite my student Ms. Simran Naik to read out today's topic on educational psychology, prepared and guided by me for today's seminar. Thank you.
Respected chairpersons, Professor Kamaki Prasad Das Sir, HOD History, Government College, Koraput, respected invitees present on the dais and off the dais, and my dear participants. In today's seminar, I, Simran Naik, would like to present an article on the topic, What is Educational Psychology, prepared and guided by our Departmental HOD, Professor Kamaki Prasad Das Sir. Friends, educational psychology is a kind of study that deals with spiritual psychic vision and the perennial philosophy of human reflected in modern educational system. It enables one to mobilize the thought process in a democratic manner. It uplifts the human mind by satisfying the curiosity of the brain. One's aspiration and thought process are rightly initiated through this psychology. It is based on observational study needed for the all-round development of the human. Theosophically speaking, it postulates a threefold field which one needs to develop the personality. Hence, we can say it is a kind of personality building study. Its philosophical value consists of mind, spirit, soul, and body. Educational psychology is again a study of future and past because by considering the past record of a person in the present time, the future course of action is decided. It takes into account subjective latent underdeveloped power and is concerned with senses and organs of a human. It perceives both objective and physical intent. It is closely associated with soul, mind, or psyche. Present moment action is more important in this field than any other thing or element here. It is a kind of sense field between two poles of spirit and body. Again, this field of study deals with clairvoyance because one can see the future through this clairvoyance by the intuition. Truly speaking, it is a study of mind which consists of both subjective and objective. Friends, this psychology nurtures the mind to learn consciously, to look inward because only through inward looking one can perceive spiritual truth which helps for the right growth of education. This inward looking is the subjective part of educational psychology, but at the same time, its objective part deals with outward looking phenomena to master the material aspects of life. Initially, this field of study had a good starting point in the physical senses inherited from the animal kingdom, but later on, its spiritual vision came into existence only when the individual turns seriously towards religion and attempted to understand the meaning of life. Hence, in course of time, the complete study of this educational psychology turned into a mixed one consisted of both physical and spiritual aspects. Friends, sensory perception plays a vital role in educational psychology because sensory perception initiates spiritual enlightenment. Without spiritual vision, educational psychology has no meaning. Both sensory perception and spiritual vision, when combined together, one enters into the practical field of life. This practical knowledge is a key point of educational psychology because only through practical knowledge the psyche or mind perceives something. It is represented by psychism or in modern terminology extrasensory perception. Spiritual illumination is another key feature of educational psychology. It comes in the form of an occasional flash of insight or inspiration. Hence, we must consider both spiritual vision and extrasensory perception while dealing with this educational psychology. Again, this educational psychology deals with the extension of physical sensation too, because through physical sensation only, one can distinguish clearly any type of confusion resulting due to mental variation and channelize the energy particles in right direction through the clairvoyance. One must see and understand the nature of perception in educational psychology because through the nature of perception, one's future course of action is determined. Without predetermination, educational psychology does not become fruitful because it is a study of foreseen signs. One's intuition plays a key role in this field and hence mental assessment must be accurate while cultivating educational psychology. One's perceiving ability must not go wrong both in physical and mental level in educational psychology. So, one can apply both induction and deduction method in this field. Educational psychology sorts out many physical and mental difficulties of a child through perception, vision, and judgment. This study needs no court of law, no account of witness, and no evidences. It is invisible in the physical level and comes through honesty only. It never alters its shape, color, design, texture at every moment. It treats a child silently but seriously until the result comes out with positive effect. Because negativity in educational psychology means total failure of one's mission. Hence, a successful educational psychologist has to obtain reliable and steady psychic vision. One's own psychological makeup plays a vital role in educational psychology because it helps to realize different philosophical and mental difficulties in a child in scientific way. One's personal factor and margin of error enhance the psychic vision to look into the child's psychology. This field is more or less a field of mute expression through clairvoyance. It is projected with us through fresh piece of assignment, training, etc. Temperament of a person hardly matters here. Reactive or negative clairvoyant does not act effectively in educational psychology because it is associated with solar plexus, sympathy, and mechanical perception. People having these qualities depend upon conditions and suit their personality, but educational psychology cannot act effectively under this situation here. No personal demand has a valid effect. Here, one must be extremely sensitive to the need of the time and should go for objective analysis. Friends, educational psychologists consider feeling of the child which is very often easily hurt. Hence, they take it very seriously with their own sensitivity while dealing with the psychology of a child. Hence, this study is the precursor at some times or other in history of individual which follows after. It is the road to a more positive and objective form of clairvoyance. It is the censorship of the clear waking mind. It produces sometimes some slight degree of semi-trance. Another mechanism of educational psychology is connected with the cerebrospinal system. Under this system, one learns the art of capacity management by winning the integrity of a child. Here, special condition the child is taken into consideration. This art is noiseless and goes without movement. Self-consciousness matters here than anything else. Friends, educational psychology goes with psychic sensitivity. So, one must not go with confusion because confusion and psychic sensitivity cannot go together. Sometimes, child's appearance and nature influence educational psychology because these two factors help for accurate judgment of a child. One's trained command activates sensitive perception of a child in educational psychology. Many of the more difficult problems of a child can either be avoided or solved positively and intelligently with the help of educational psychology. A child comes back with mature and powerful mental and emotional equipment with the help of educational psychology. One realizes this through more sensitive approach and one's psychic receptivity becomes powerful through this field of study. One can differentiate between potential psychotic with the help of educational psychology. Educational psychology can be applied for a civilized community child as well as an unpolished rural child. True and deep perception enhances the value of this study. So, this study is to apply to the field of politics, religion, and sociology. One's perceptive quality can deal with every situation in educational psychology. We could put our consciousness into other person through right application of educational psychology. Ideas and expressions go in right direction if educational psychology is honestly applied for a child. We should be able to discover all our common problems and their solution through this study. Again friends, it always differentiates between union and class. Hence, Children must follow their trainer to cultivate this field of study. Trainers must not be confused while imparting this education to the child. They should communicate their knowledge with clear vision to a child. This is more or less study of humanity. It can neither be communicated in the form of word or conveyed through books. It needs right expressions, right attitudes towards life. Spiritual vision, clairvoyance, exchanged form of silent communion and recognition. It is a study of experience and experiment. The trainer and the trainee are unified together through this study. Hence, we can say it a study of wholeness. Argument, logic, deduction, etc. do not have any place in this field. It needs devotion but not diversion. It needs program but not promotion, because here program follows promotion. It has no ethic, no philosophy, but has deep spiritual insight. Here, one's perception is more important than any kind of philosophical knowledge. So, let's come together to experience it once. Thank you all for your patience listening.